On January 3rd, 1982, the surprising young Giants traveled to Candlestick Park in San Francisco. There, they met the Cinderella 49ers, with a berth in the NFC Championship game at stake.
He goes to Patton, and Moshulka still has the ball. Just throw long. Way down for the end zone. He's got a man. Complete touchdown. Bit of the line goes Patton to the 20-yard line. He's going to 15. 10. He's going to go in.
San Francisco built a 17-point lead.
Forget it, Giants! You're done! Hang it up, Giants!
The Giants would not concede.
Wide receivers either end. Mullity comes in motion. He is back from the 32. Bruno throws long. He's got a man. Perkins has the ball. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. He's going in.
The Giants pulled it within a touchdown. And late in period 3, they drove toward a tying score. Nobody beat the 49ers in the playoffs. But the proud young Giants battled them to the very end. With just 1:21 left in the game and the outcome already decided, the Giants scored their final touchdown. The 1981 Giants never quit, and in defeat, there was honor, for nobody expected them to go so far. At season's beginning, Giants Stadium had never had a winner. By season's end, it was the home of a playoff team, the first Giant playoff team in nearly 2 decades. A team that turned promise and potential into real progress. Eight straight losing seasons can build a lot of frustration in a football team. For the Giants, 1981 was their chance to get even. The key to the Giants' turnaround was their defense, a new 3-4 defense that took shape around first-year nose tackle Bill Neal, a near-unanimous all-rookie team selection. Neal's spirited presence gave the Giants superb inside strength and was a big reason why they allowed the fewest yards per rushing attempt in all of football. Passing against the Giants was just as difficult. Free safety Beasley Reese and cornerback Terry Jackson teamed with strong safety Bill Courier and cornerback Mark Haynes to give the Giants one of the NFL's stingiest secondaries. Haynes had a particularly good season. The former #1 draft choice was picked on often, but Haynes routinely knocked down all challenges en route to being named first team All-Pro by 3 different selection services. The Giants' strongest defensive area was linebacking, made even better in 1981 by the return of Harry Carson from injured reserve. In his 6th pro season, Carson made the Pro Bowl for the 3rd time. Another returnee from injured reserve was number 55, Brian Kelly, the Giants' defensive signal caller. On the outside, Brad Van Pelt missed several games due to injury, but still made it tough to turn the corner. And then, of course, there was Lawrence Taylor, the finest young defensive player to come to pro football in many seasons. Taylor's no-nonsense tackling earned him every form of all-pro recognition available. But the most meaningful testimony to his talent came from his teammates.
I went to the movies and saw Superman 1, and I went to the movies and saw Superman 2. But then I said to myself, I said, now I'm playing with Superman 3, and that's Lawrence Taylor. He's ferocious, man. He's ferocious. I mean, he just runs over people like they're not there. If you can imagine a wet towel, you know, whack. That's how he hits people. He hits whack and just keeps going like they're not even there.
Taylor was the most dominant defensive player in the game, and even soft-spoken Giant head coach Ray Perkins sang his praises.
He's a prototype outside linebacker for the National Football League. You know, he's an excellent blitzer, he's an excellent tackler, he's smart, and he's had a great impact on our football team. And I've already made the statement, I'll make it again, that he's the best young player that I've ever seen at any position as a rookie.
22-year-old Lawrence Taylor. Without him in 1980, the Giants' defense ranked 26th in the NFL. With him in 1981, that same defense ranked 3rd. The Giants won 5 of their first 8 games, and the defense figured prominently in all of them. In week 2, tackle Phil Tabor made the big hit, setting up a George Martin touchdown in a 17-7 win over Washington. In week 3, they overran the New Orleans Saints, allowing only a single touchdown. In that game, Joe Danello hit a 55-yard field goal, the longest in the NFL last season. The Giants won 20-7. Rookie lineman Bill Neal paced a Week 6 pass rush that laid waste to everything in sight in a 34-14 win over the Cardinals. Out in Seattle, defensive end George Martin led a 5-sack attack as the Giants shut out the Seahawks 32-0. Then came a rainy night in Georgia, a memorable mid-season game that the Giants just weren't supposed to win.
Jones will kick the ball up, block, free ball. Rolling down to the 20, down to the 15. Flowers is after it, near the 5. Giants at the goal line, and it's in. Touchdown.
The Atlanta Falcons were a preseason Super Bowl favorite, but the Giants took them into overtime, and then they finished them off.
Here we go, good snap, it is up, it's got the distance. Touchdown, over! The Giants win, the Giants win. What an upset. What a big victory down here in Atlanta, Jim. You couldn't ask for anything more, a big victory.
For the 1981 Giants, it was the first of many big victories, and the best were yet to come. As a member of the Houston Oilers, running back Rob Carpenter labored in the shadow of the great Earl Campbell. When he did get to carry the football, he proved to be a gutsy, determined runner who didn't go down easy. A real old-fashioned competitor. It was this competitive spirit that made Rob Carpenter want more from his NFL career.
I had spent 4 years in the NFL, and I learned a whole heck of a lot. And we were in the playoffs for 3 years. So my first 4 years were just, great from that standpoint. My only complaint was I just wasn't getting to play enough. I wanted to see if I was good enough to really do something in the NFL. I wanted to carry the ball 25 times a game, and I really wanted to be an effective member of an offensive football team instead of just a second down and long and third short, that kind of a running back.
As a Giant, Rob Carpenter got that opportunity. In his Giant debut, Carpenter ran for 103 yards against St. Louis, all in the second half. A performance that earned him his teammates' unqualified respect.
He's my type of player. He's It reminds me of myself a lot. I like to just go out there and give it all I've got for 60 minutes. Rob's the same way. You give him a 2-foot hole and he can break it for 5 and 6 yards. He takes a 2 or 3 yard gain and makes an 8 or 9 yard gain out of it. And this is the one reward that the offensive lineman looks for.
I don't think you could say he's like a Tony Dorsett or a Walter Payton, but he does the same thing. He gets you yardage. He gets you tough yardage when it counts. And a lot of guys really believe in Rob Carpenter, and he's helped their offense a lot.
There is nothing fancy about his style. He simply gets every yard he can get. Nobody worked harder to make the Giants' offense successful. But then nobody was happier to be a Giant.
I think I can honestly say, like, the happiest 3 days of my life were being born, being married to my wife, Susie, and becoming a New York Giant.
For Rob Carpenter, 1981 was the best of times. For quarterback Phil Simms, the '81 season was bittersweet. The sweet part came every time Phil Simms threw the football. Simms has always been able to drill tight spirals through coverage. But last year he softened his touch, and the result was the second lowest interception ratio in the NFC. His most spectacular receiver was Ernest Gray. His most consistent was Johnny Perkins. Against the Atlanta Falcons, Simms' 2 touchdown passes were crucial to the Giants' big win. But then came the bitter part. For the Falcon game was the last time all season Phil Simms would lead the Giants to victory. The Giants fell into a mid-season slump. In Week 9, the AFC's hottest team made some mistakes. But Beasley Reese's score was the Giants' only one in a 26-7 loss to the Jets. In Green Bay, reserve quarterback Scott Bruner rallied the Giants from a 20-point deficit. But in the end, the Packers prevailed 26-24. The following week, Phil Simms separated a shoulder and was lost for the season. And the Giants couldn't keep pace with the red-hot Washington Redskins. The Giants' 1981 season was slowly slipping away.
We had lost 3 in a row because we had lost to the Jets, Green Bay, Washington. And it looked like our season was over because before that we were 5-3. Then all of a sudden we're 5-6, playing the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the National Football League, who was 9-2. And so we beat them when we were 6-6, and all of a sudden saying, oh wow, something must have happened. Jaworski broke his arm. Carmichael dropped every pass was thrown. Montgomery didn't run for 100 yards. Something must have happened. And we beat them with all their best weapons.
What really happened was the Giants' defense dominated the game.
3rd and 39. Henry's on the right side, Smith's on the left. Jaworski from the 5, he's throwing outside. Intercepted, Giants on the ball. Down to the 20. Down to the 15, 10, touchdown! Jackson, Barry Jackson with the interception.
The Giants saved their season with a hard-fought 20-10 win in Philadelphia. Their first win over the Eagles since 1975. Eagle fans did not share the Giants' joy. The Giants couldn't have cared less. Going into December, the Giants needed to win all 3 of their remaining regular season games to have any chance at all of making the playoffs. and that's exactly what they did. Against the Los Angeles Rams in only his second NFL start, Scott Bruner's improving passing touch kept the Giants in the game. In the end, a Rob Carpenter touchdown and tough Giant defense added up to win number 1. In St. Louis, Jim Clack, J.T. Turner, Billy Ard, Jeff Weston, and Gordon King paved the way to Rob Carpenter's 4th 100-yard rushing day in 10 weeks, tying the Giants' single-season record. Defensively, Lawrence Taylor ran over another unsuspecting passer. George Martin collected his second easy touchdown of the season, and the Giants had win number 2. But the third and final win would be the toughest, for it would have to come over the division-leading Dallas Cowboys and their multifaceted high-scoring attack. Clearly, this was a job for the Giant defense. The defense held the Cowboys close, and Scott Bruner passed the Giants into overtime. In sudden death, the Giants did it all.
Carpenter and Perry in the backfield. Gives the ball to Perry. He keeps the ball himself. He's all by himself. He's at the 20, the 30, 25, 20.
What a bootleg! Oh!
Bruner's brilliant bootleg carried to the Cowboys' 17-yard line, setting up a game-winning field goal attempt.
Here comes the ball. Here's the kick by Dinello. No good. No good.
Hit the upright.
Oh, it looked good.
Teams with less character might have tossed in the towel. The no-quit Giants went out and gave Dinello another chance.
Looking downfield. It's intercepted by Hunt. Hunt gets the ball at the 30, at the 25. A big interception by Byron Hunt.
Once again, the defense saved the day. And this time, Dinello didn't miss.
Here we go. Here comes the snap. Here's the boot. It looks good.
It's good.
The Giants win. The Giants win. The Giants win. The Giants may be in a playoff.
And these fans are going crackers. Let's just give them a listen. Let them roar.
The following day, when the New York Jets beat the Green Bay Packers, the Giants advanced to the playoff for the first time in 18 seasons. And what better place to make their long-awaited playoff appearance than Veterans Stadium, Philadelphia, the scene of so many Giant disappointments. The Eagles were a solid touchdown favorite, but the Giants scored the game's first 20 points.
Going to come to the right, and Henry will take it. He drops it at the 5. It's loose. Free ball. Giants have it in the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, my Lord. Giants got a touchdown.
Astonished Giant fans looked on in amazement as Bruner fired 3 first-half touchdowns.
He's looking to pass. Bruner at the 30. He's going along the end zone. Complete. Touchdown. Mullally caught the seam. He ran a perfect route, and Scott Bruner threw the field.
The Giants took a 27-7 lead into the second half. Naturally, the defending NFC champions battled back. Eagles fans celebrated 2 second-half touchdowns. And with just 2.5 minutes left in the game, Philadelphia had pulled to within 6 points. Could Ray Perkins' offense hang on to the football?
Offensively, the New York Giants had kind of taken a verbal beating the whole season. But this was one time in a situation where the offense could win the game. We had done a great job up to that point. And if we got a couple first down, people were going to say, well, hey, the offense did their job, and they won the game when it had to be won. And for us to go out there and hold on the ball and get a couple first downs, when there's only one back running the ball and the pressure's not on me, I think it's on the offensive line because they have to move them out. And they did, and we held on to the ball, and we did win the game.
For the Giants, it was their most meaningful victory since 1963. But even in celebration, they were looking ahead to that next big step.
I'm just proud of our guys. They did it. And, you know, we advanced to play one more game. And that's all we'll think about, San Francisco.
The San Francisco 49ers went on to win Super Bowl 16, but not before the Giants offered them a stern challenge. For those of you wondering what the future holds for this team, consider these things. From mid-November on, when games became crucial, the Giants lost only twice, both times to San Francisco. Their victories included a win over the Cowboys and 2 impressive wins on the road in Philadelphia. Now that, Giant fans, is a step in the right direction.